5, lesson 1, a Schoolgirl's Diary from I Am Malala. The AKS that we're going to focus on today is AKS 10, which says I can cite several relevant pieces of textual evidence to support an in-depth analysis of what the text says explicitly and elaborate on inferences drawn from the text. We went over this AKS before, so are there any words that are not clear in this description? We know how to cite several relevant pieces of textual evidence. We know what textual evidence is? Yes or no? No?
No.
Textual evidence is evidence that you find in the text. Once you state your claim or you make your inference, the evidence in the text supports what you're saying. So you're looking for quotes, or you're looking for facts, you're looking for things that are true that can support what you're saying. Does that make sense? Okay. We know how to do analysis. We go through and we annotate things. We pull out figurative language, or we pull out the author's main point, and we ask why the author is teaching us this, or what does he want us to know. Everything else, elaborate. Do we know what the word elaborate means? No? Elaborate. The word right here.
Oh, no. I don't. What?
To tell me more. If I say elaborate on what you're saying, I want you to tell me more. Give me more information. Okay? And we all know what inferences are? Yes? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Which one? Okay. Y'all forgot what inferences are?
Yeah. What is halfway? Wait, what?
What you got? Inferences? What's an inference?
Junior said halfway. What?
Okay, so it's kind of in the middle. Lillian, what's an inference? Think about it. Not sure?
I forgot.
When you read something from a text, you want to see maybe what's going to happen next, and you make your own inference about what you think is going to happen.
Wondering what's going to happen next.
Anticipating, maybe forecasting what's going to happen next in the story.
Oh, that goes in.
Forecasting? Tell me what's going to happen next. Tell me what you think. What you think is going to happen next. Or what you think the author's saying. What you think is going to go on in this situation, whatever it is. So you're reading stuff from the text, and then it's what you think or what you imply from that. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Boys, sit up. Both of you, sit up. It's not nap time.
Jacob always goes.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Oh no, let me break this down for y'all. I forgot to break this down. The learning target. I can cite several relevant pieces of textual evidence to support what the author is telling the reader. So I took your AKS 10 and broke it down into this one piece. Is what we're going to work on today. I can cite several relevant pieces of textual evidence to support what the author is saying. When you cite textual evidence, that means you're pulling it from the text. You're telling me where you're getting it from. And that's what's supporting what you're saying or the inference that you're making. Okay?
Yeah.
Boys, I just asked you to get up. I expect you to do it.
Remember. No, you're not. You're literally. How was that up?
Get up.
You
And
see,
sit
like, on your
up on your behind. Please. Thank you so much. For activating strategy, what keeps people from giving up? This is our essential question. This essential question will track us all the way through Unit 5. What keeps people from giving up? We'll just look at it in different ways. So, I want you guys to turn and talk to each other. What are some ways that people work not to give up? Like, what are some things you can do to not give up? And what does it look like if someone is not giving up? Like, what was the outcome of that? Think of a specific situation that you might can think of. Turn and talk to your friends. Let's go. You got 1 minute. Y'all whispering now? You know, you usually whisper. Talk. I can't hear you talk. Remember, what you think? What's up? There's somebody that people work that means y'all got some answers for me. Alright, what does it look like? Tell me. What are some ways that people work not to give up? Yes.
To like have a goal.
Have a goal. Yes, to set a goal. Yes.
Set your mind on something.
Set your mind on something. Okay. What else? Yes, to have a goal and set your mind on something. Yes.
The courage to never give up on your dreams.
The courage to never give up on your dreams. Yes. All that kind of speaks to me in the way of like a self-motivation type thing. Yes.
Practice doing things that you don't give up on.
Yeah. Things that you like to do, or sometimes I guess things that you don't even like to do, but something that needs to be done. You practice it and kind of stick it out till the end. I'm gonna ask y'all a question, but let me go on to this first. Alright, we presented our learning target. We talked about that. Let's talk about this. Important vocabulary that you might need for this lesson. I've outlined them here, and I also put them over here for you. So, 5 of them. They're listed up here on the whiteboard where I always keep them there. I'll always be there for the resource for you. But up here, so the first word is debating. Let me tell you what debate means. Debate is just a past tense. What does debate mean?
Arguing back and forth.
Arguing back and forth. Yes, Brandon, exactly right. Up here it says to discuss opposing points or ideas. If you have different points or ideas, sometimes you'll see a debate. So if it's debating in class, one side of this room will be for one thing, and on this side will be for another, and you're going back and forth and debating. You're throwing out points that are valid for each side. So you're debating which one will be right and which one will be wrong. An example is the students debated whether school lunches should be longer or stay the same. Edit. Edit. This word right here. Does anybody know what edit means?
Edit?
Not edit.
Edit?
Edit. E-D-I-C-T.
Edit something fancy.
I don't think you guys have heard this word right here. That word right here. It is kind of a fancy word. A command or pronouncement enforced as law. So, y'all see sometimes, I don't know if y'all watch the news, but sometimes you have to watch the news. You do? You'll see little clippings. Y'all see our new president up there and he'll be signing things into law or signing things. And you've seen that before? I've seen it flash on TV. I don't watch the news a lot, but I've seen it flash when I walk by. That's what he's doing. He's pronouncing something new into law. He's signing something into law. He's creating the edit. Okay, so edit is all about law. Remember that. Putting something into law or putting a rule into enforcement. The example is the principal issue in edit that all students must always wear their ID badges. Okay, so a new rule. Defy. You know what defy means?
No, define. Define means like,
Well, define.
someone asks you to do something or demands you to do something and you don't do it, it will be consequences.
Yes, Brandon is exactly right. It's like somebody asks you to do something you don't do it, or you do the exact opposite. Edit says to defy gravity. That's an expression, but if you think about it, I'm sorry. You know, it makes up your own time. So, it's a weird way of looking at it, but yeah, gravity's supposed to bring you down. So if you're defying gravity, you're going against it. And that's exactly what defy is, go against something. The example says to take, choose, or defy the school rules by using his phone in class. No, Jake, I'm sorry, I can't see that. Jake chose to defy the school's rule by using his phone in class. I've seen that before. What about this word? This word looks a little weird. Pseudonym. Pseudonym. What's a pseudonym? Say it louder. A fictitious name.
Oh, that one.
Particularly like a nickname or like a nickname. It's like a nickname. Pseudonym. Say pseudonym. But it starts with a P. That P is silent. Okay? If you look at the rest of the word, it does kind of look like it sounds. The last word is anonymous. What's anonymous?
Someone who is anonymous has a nickname. No one knows.
Disclose.
Disclose or unknown.
important once we start reading that you know the meaning of those. So I got them over here for you. There's your resource, okay? I'll probably move them over here so you can see it better. Alright, so I want to introduce you to Malala a little bit before we get started. You guys know a little bit about Malala, but you don't know everything. So we're gonna watch this quick little video about her, and you can find out more about her life. After we do that, we'll read and talk a little bit.
No,
One second, it didn't come up. Evelyn, did I click on copy?
Yes.
You're,
You could have just, Miss Mac, you could have just highlighted it.
why is it not coming
Control
up?
Z. I think that you don't have to press. What?
Sorry, y'all, give me 1 second. It popped up, no problem last class. Let me see why.
Control C, Control V. Control.
Let's try it.
It actually is.
You think it'll work better?
Shut up. Yeah, it'll copy it.
Got it.
The city, wait, no.
Shush.
Everyone.
Wait, she was a real person?
This is a real story. Alright, so I'm sorry. I
No, what's
said y'all that. This is a real story. This is an excerpt. So Malala writes a lot of things. She's a very, very powerful person. She writes a lot of things, but this is an excerpt from one of her stories that we're going over, okay? So yes, Malala is real. Did this really happen? Yes, it did. This is a real story. So it's important that you pay attention, okay?
I have rights. I have the right of education. I have the right to play. I have the right to sing. I have the right to talk. I have the right to go to market. I have the right to speak up.
She's become the voice for girls around the world. In 2011, CNN interviewed Malala Yousafzai, a Pakistani girl who gained international headlines 2 years earlier for speaking out for girls' education through a blog she wrote under a pseudonym.
I'm sorry. I point this out really quickly. You see this date up here?
2000.
And they say it happened 2 years prior to. Do you know that's really not that long ago? 10 years, 12 years, it's not that long ago. Things like this is happening, okay? And then right before I clicked and pause to let you recognize the date, did you hear the word pseudonym?
Yeah, she said pseudonym.
Let's listen again. Let's see how they're applying or what they're talking about.
Education through a blog she wrote under a pseudonym.
It says she wrote a blog under a pseudonym. So what would I tell you? She wrote a blog as what? Remember what's a pseudonym?
Is a nickname
Fictitious or nickname. Good job. Yes, fictitious or nickname. So with that being said, if she wrote a blog up under a pseudonym, that tells you what? She wrote the blog up under what? Nickname, yes, or just an anonymous name. She doesn't want anybody to know that it's her writing that blog, okay?
When I see my name in the newspaper, I feel that, yeah, God has given this honor to me and I shall accept it.
Malala's life changed forever on October 9th, 2012. While on her way home from school in Pakistan's Swat Valley, a group of armed Taliban boarded her school bus, asked for her by name, and shot her in the head. 2 of her classmates were also wounded in the attack. But Malala's injuries were so severe, doctors didn't think she'd survive. She was airlifted to a military hospital in Peshawar, where she had surgery to remove the bullet lodged in her shoulder. From the UAE to Germany to the US, doctors from around the world offered to treat the young girl. But ultimately Malala flew to the UK, where she continued treatment at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham. When hearing about the attack, people around the world were inspired by her courage. Many attended prayer vigils and lit candles. Others stood in support of her efforts through rallies, holding up her picture and demanding change. Malala was discharged from the hospital in January, and underwent reconstructive surgery a month later. In 2011, when asked why it was important for her to take up this cause, she told our Reza Saya,
When I looked at my people and my school fellows and the ban on the girls' education and the Taliban, so I thought that I must stand up for my rights, the right of education, the right for peace.
Malala is attending school in the UK, but she continues her fight for education, and worldwide support for her continues despite threats from the Taliban. Fanula Sweeney, CNN News.
That's powerful. What if you guys don't go to school? I mean, y'all complain about going to school all the time, and y'all don't want to come to school. But what if you couldn't? Like, what if you really could not go to school? There's a lot.
I'll be happy too.
For real?
I'll be happy. I'll be sad.
Eventually you get bored. You're not able to see your friends differently. I mean, you see some of them at home, but you're not able to socialize. Social and emotional are definitely part of growing. It's important. Alright, so let's move along. It says, as we read, we're gonna think aloud. So some questions that I want you guys to ask yourself, I'm gonna ask myself as well, is why am I reading this text? What is the point? What does the author want me to know? What do I know about the subject already? And what am I going to learn? So you know a little bit about Malala, maybe before I showed you the video, maybe you know a little bit more now. We're gonna go over her background information and you'll know a little bit more. So what do you need to learn, or what are you going to learn, and what is the author trying to tell you? And making a connection to Malala and you guys' lives. Remember when we talked about what it takes for you to be a survivor, for you to push on and not give up? Think about to yourself a family member, somebody in your family, maybe a good friend, somebody that you know is close to you. They went through something and they did not give up. That's a personal connection, because Malala went through something. You saw in the video that the Taliban, they shot her. They shot her in the head, and she healed, and she still came back, still fight for what she believes in. She's still fighting for educational rights. Like, they didn't stop her. She's pushing on, she has perseverance. So think about the same thing in your houses or in your closely related family. Who is somebody, or what is somebody who didn't give up, and how did they not do that? Think about it for a second. You don't have to share it. We'll come back and revisit that, okay? Okay, as we move on, I'm gonna read an excerpt for you guys. So you can look in here. I'm gonna put it up here on the board when I'm reading, and then I'm gonna break it down for you. So let's start here. This first paragraph is about dedication. It's who she's dedicating her story to. And then these next paragraphs are the prologue before she actually gets into the little excerpt that we're pulling apart. So let's start here for paragraph 1. It says, to those children all over the world who have no access to education, to those teachers who bravely continue teaching, and to anyone who has fought for those basic human rights in education. It was a most ordinary of days. I was 15 in grade 9, and I stayed up far too late the night before studying for an exam. So this part right here, I'm gonna highlight this part, because staying up late for an exam, study for an exam, that tells me something. That tells me she wants to pass, it tells me she values education. Something around her education is important. I'd already heard the rooster crow from dawn, but had fallen back asleep. I heard the morning call to prayer from the mosque nearby, but managed to hide under my quilt. And I pretended not to hear my father come wake me up. Well, she's a little tired. That indicates to me that she's tired from staying up late last night studying. Then my mother came and gently shook my shoulder. Wake up, Michelle, she said, calling me kitten in Pasco. That's their little nickname for her. The language of the Pushtan people. It's 7:30 and you're late for school. So I want to highlight that as well, because her mother giving her that little nickname, and then she's waking her up for school. So that shows me that her mother values education as well. She doesn't want her to be late for school. I'm sure she knows she has a test as well. Paragraph 5. I had an exam on Pakistani studies. So I said a quick prayer to God. If it's your will, may I please come in first, I whispered. where she thanked God for her success so far. That lets me know that she is thankful. So she's not ungrateful, she's thankful for what she has so far. So far, what does the author want me to know? Or what is the author trying to tell me? I feel like the author is trying to express the importance that Lala has on education. She feels like education that she deserves, as well as people around her. And also, I feel like her mother has some sense of urgency when it comes to education because she won't grow up for school. She's kind of gentle with her too by calling her a nickname like that. So I think they have a pretty decent relationship. That's what I received from this. So after reading those paragraphs, I wrote my synopsis down like this after I highlighted and pulled everything out. What I think is, well, I asked about those two questions, but the quote from Malala's mother, it seemed powerful right from the start. It surprised me because I knew ultimately what happened to Malala. But it makes me think that she included that sentence for a reason. It's 7:30 and you're late for school. To show how her family cares about education, that it's important. Her parents are gentle with her, they're kind with her, calling her the word kitten. And both of her parents take the time to come and wake her up so that she doesn't miss her exam. So that tells me that the whole family is kind of centered around education. It's important for them. The question that I asked myself is, why does the author add this detail? And what does the author want to share? That's how I came to my answer. So I stop and I pause and I break as I read. I highlight things, as I showed you on this side, things that are important to me. I highlight those and I pull them out and I ask her, what does the author want me to know, or why is the author telling me this? So I can find out what the information is about. Okay, so now I want you guys to look at paragraph 6. I stopped at 5. Look at paragraph 6 on your paper. Okay, let's look. I'll put projectors up here. Paragraph 6 to start. Flip it on page 2. Go to page 2. Yeah, the back of the first one. It starts with she. You see she. So put a 1 beside she. And number 2, the back of your front paper. The back. Oh yeah, you don't have one. Hold on. Let me find it for you. When. You see when? Look for the word when. I'm sorry. It's the word when. Turn back to the front of your paper. It's when, yeah, when Malala. Turn back to the front of your paper if you haven't found when Malala already, and then count your paragraphs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When is number 6? 6. Jacob, you should be counting your paragraphs if you don't know where to start. As well as you, Jacqueline.
We just write 2 right here, like 6.
6.
Right here.
Flip your paper over.
Yes?
I read that already.
This?
The part where the map is. And you see the word when?
Wait, when my man here?
Got it? When started when? Yes, when started when?
So that's 6
When?
or?
6. When is 6? We're gonna start there. I'm gonna put it up here. We're gonna go through it together. So let me find 6. Who would like to read for me? I usually have all kinds of volunteers.
I'll write the most.
I know. Bring it, Andre. Jacqueline? Let's do it.
Read.
You know what?
Which way?
Jacqueline first. Then I'm gonna pick out my box.
No, I need a
We
break.
start at number 6. Right here.
Wait. I need a pencil.
Okay, listen.
I love it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I love
Alright, so we're gonna start at 6 here. On 6 up here, in our book starts with I go. So look for the paragraph that says I go. Right in. You looking for something? It's right there. Right there. Alright, so Jacqueline, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I walked out a bit of fried eggs and
Chapati.
chapati.
Look up here. It's a circular flatbread. It's common in Pakistan. So it's a certain kind of bread in Pakistan people eat.
Chapati,
Keep going.
with my teeth,
Uh-huh.
my youngest brother,
A tall.
a tall was in
Especially
especially
cheeky.
mood that morning.
Uh-huh.
He was
Complaining.
complaining about all the attention I received for speaking out about girls being the same.
Education.
As boys and my father
Tease.
tease him a little at the grade class. Pero everything.
Good, thank you. Julian. Uh-huh. One more. A tall. Pretended. Yeah. Good, thank you. Alright, so for number 9. This is my personal. Irie. Go, Irie.
Wait, number 9.
Number 9, you're right there.
All this
Banter.
cancer nearly made me late, and I raced out the door. My half-eaten breakfast still on the table. I ran down the lane just in time to see the school bus. What?
Crammed.
Crammed with other girls on their way to school. I joined that.
I jumped.
I jumped and
You're right, keep going.
in that Tuesday morning it never looked back at
My home.
Alright. Let's look at these paragraphs. So we started at paragraph 5. No, 6, I'm sorry, and we went to paragraph 9. The author has a lot of details in here. Why did the author add those details? What ideas is the author trying to share? Why did he add those details, and what ideas is he trying to share?
And I think because I'm trying to figure out why girls had to stop going to school.
Okay, trying to figure that out. What else? What else did you hear in there?
And he's trying to figure it out and why.
What else did you hear? I hear you guys talking, so you must have something to add. Tell me. What else did you hear?
Everything.
We ain't get to 10 yet. Okay, so what do you see? What's important? What are we gonna underline here? What's important?
The last sentence.
Yeah. Come on. Braden Bell's here first. Hold on something. What's important? What do we need to underline? We started here. This is paragraph 5. And we're going to 9. So start at the top of paragraph 5. My brother Atal was especially cheeky. Move A little at the breakfast table. What's important in that paragraph?
That,
Brandon, what you see? What's important?
for speaking out about girls getting, the same education as boys.
Okay. Underline that first. See that? Start at 4. It's in the middle. From 4 to boys. Okay, so you said 4. For speaking out about girls getting the same education as boys. For what? What happened in the beginning of that sentence? Brandon, we got both of them.
He was complaining about all the attention I received for speaking out about girls getting the same education as boys.
Alright, so you got the last part of the sentence. Do you think the first part is important?
Yeah.
I do too, because it says he's complaining about all the attention. So can you underline that for that? Those two? Alright, and who's he referring to? Who's doing all the complaining? Atal. Underline Atal, just so we know who we're talking about. The person. Yep. Alright, so we know he's complaining. Let's move on down to the next one. When Malala is prime minister someday, you can be her secretary. What's important about that sentence?
When Malala is prime minister.
The whole sentence.
When Malala is prime minister someday, Brandon, will you underline that for me?
The whole sentence.
No, stop at someday. Oh no, go back. Well, starting with and stop here.
Not bad.
There you go, thank you. Good. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Atal, the little clown in the family, pretended to be cross. No, he cried, she will be my secretary. Anything there we need to put? No, we just kind of coming back to some words. Number 9. All this banter nearly made me late. I raced out the door, my half-eaten breakfast still on the table. I ran down the lane just in time to see the school bus crammed with other girls on their way to school. I jumped in that Tuesday morning and never looked back at home. What's important?
Oh, they're on to it.
Please underline that.
Yeah, guys.
That is important. I jumped in that Tuesday morning and never looked back at my home. Alright, anything up above that is important? All this banter. What about this part? All this, excuse me, somebody, please have a seat. All this banter nearly made me late.